I'm here in CMAC today with Alexander O Sullivan, the OG of the amateur game. How are you, Alex?
Doing great, yeah, absolutely. Chuffed to be on the podcast now, or this interview, because it's getting us all used to the media side of things that will be so important when I go pro now. Because I'm looking to debut soon, so this is really important to me to get this kind of practice in going forward. Get the profile out there as well, build the support that I'm looking for, going pro, build a fan base and that kind of thing. Get the publicity, so I really appreciate it.
Perfect. I really appreciate your time. You've been in the amateur game for a long time now. The big question of everyone was when you were going pro. But I actually want to take you back to the start of your career. When did you start MMA? Why did you start? When and why, basically?
So, to take it kind of right back to the very start, kind of my first involvement in combat sports was in judo. I started on judo when I was 9 in a local Kilmoyne gym run by a guy called Kieran Foley, and he was an Olympian, and that was a big deal, kind of, for me, that he had made it to the highest level of sport, and he was just a local guy from Blanchardstown. So that was kind of my first, and he was a great coach, and that was my first kind of entry into combat sports, and I ended up being a blue belt in judo. I never went on to get my brown and black belt, because I stopped doing it to pursue MMA when I was about 15. I stopped doing judo completely. But I wouldn't mind actually going back at some point, a little bit later maybe, and getting that black belt, because it's just something that would mean a bit to me. Just kind of, it's good credential as well, I think, to have the black belt. Because I do like judo, and I do incorporate it into my game in MMA. It would be nice to have that full black belt credential. So basically, I did judo just for the 2 years before I started doing boxing, and I boxed literally next door to this gym in Mulhuddart Boxing Club. It used to be St. Bridget's, and then it's called Mulhuddart now, NBA, and that got me into the striking side of things then, and that was a great experience. I had a few fights for them, and I had another few fights for Dunboyne then, which is the next village down from Blanchardstown. It's just in Mid, before I actually boxed LCMAC then as well, once we had a boxing licence available. So in the end, I had about 30 35 boxing fights when I was in my teens, and I won the Leinsters and the Dublins and the Dublin leagues, and I came second in the All-Irelands twice in 2 consecutive years. That was unfortunate. I didn't manage to get it's kind of the team of my career. I get to the final of the tournaments, and then haven't managed to get the gold all the time. Nearly like the Irish Craig Jones when it comes to that. I ended up coming runner-up twice in the All-Ireland boxing, but it's incredible to get there, because you have to win the Dublins to get then into the Dublin. You're the Dublin representative to fight against the representatives of the other provinces and that kind of thing in the All-Ireland. So you always get a good few fights in the lead up to the All-Irelands every year. So that's how I ended up having about 30 over the course of like four years or so. It was good to get to box in the high performance team as well, and that was incredible. Kind of get to see the high level training that they were doing. Hopefully those lads go on to be like in the Olympics and that kind of thing. So that really brought me to a higher level of training. So then I pretty much boxing and judo together from my early teens, and then training MMA up here. We had the first guy that started the gym. It was his Wolf that he had on, and he was the jiu-jitsu coach at the time, and then he was gone. So then we were just kind of training MMA, kind of going through learning as we go for a while, and training with a lot of the lads in the MMA scene. I'm quite friendly with a lot of lads that people would know, and that's how I picked up so much stuff. And then basically I started doing K1 when I was 15, to try and add kicks into my game from the boxing that gave me the hands, and the judo and jiu-jitsu that I've been training for grappling. So when I went, I did K1. I had 6 K1 fights, and I went 6-0, and I won an adult title, an adult ISKA belt when I was 16. At I think it was 60 kg, and that was my last K1 fight. That's all I did. I went 6-0, got the amateur belt, and then went into MMA then, and I've never really looked back. I've never really wanted to go back to K1 or any of that. But I still had like a 6-0 record before I transitioned kind of fully to MMA. And then when I was 16, then I had my first amateur fights against adults, because I was kind of spoofing that I was 18 at the time. So I went. So I fought. First fight was on Roy Ocean. That's a show that's not around anymore, and I won that by TKO in the 3rd round, I think it was. And then I fought on Rumble and Rush which was also not around anymore, and I won that rear naked choke in the first round. So that was kind of showcasing, like I had that hands and my grappling was getting good as well. So, and I was only 16 at the time, so I was a big. I was very into it, you know. I was like, dude, this is what I want to do. So then I was racking up a good few fights, because in this first year of fighting, I think I ended up with a lot of fights actually in that same year. So my third fight I fought, Roy Ocean again, and against Tom Moore, and I won by armbar in the first round. And then my fourth fight was Marcin Zambala, and I think I won second round. And he's gone pro now, and he was fighting there last weekend. It's just great to see those lads still involved, still doing well, and then hopefully I'm going to get to that level as well. Like, you know, when my own pro career kicks off soon, like, you know, it's great to see them doing well. So after Marcin, then I had my first loss against Owen Drumgill on Battlezone. So that was a tournament format. So the 4-man in the tournament was me, Owen, and Owen went on to win. I think it was a silver medal in the IMAFs. So he was a solid fighter, and I think he moved abroad, and I don't know why he's up to at the moment. And then the other two guys now were Reece McKee, and he was obviously been in the UFC and all now. So that was kind of I was probably a little bit ahead of where I should have been myself. Like, I probably wasn't ready to fight Reece. As it happened, I didn't fight Reece because I lost against Owen, and then Reece beat his opponent, and then those two fought in the final of the tournament on the card, and Reece won. And then Reece actually went pro off that tournament. So that was like, he was ready to go pro. I was obviously still 16, so I had a lot more growing to do. But it was great to be like involved with such high profile athletes at that age. Like, so that was my first loss, and you know, it didn't really, you know, faze me too much. I think, you know, I just knew what I had to do trying to change my game. More so really, like, I had won all my first 4 fights kind of comfortably, like they're all by stoppage, and I was kind of, when I was in that fight, I realised I needed to, you know, keep a cooler head when things weren't going my way and that kind of thing. So that was good as a 16-year-old to try and, you know, change that, like, how, you know, just kind of have to be winning at all times. You know, just kind of, you know, breathe, relax, ease into it. So that was my 5th fight, and then after that, then my next MMA fight was a little bit later. I fought Aaron Devlin from Torres on Chaos, which is a great show. That was a great show. That was a great night. I beat him. I think it was majority decision. It was a tough fight, very tough fight, like close fight. I ended up getting the win. But it was a great night because it was Decky McAleenan was the main event. I think I was the co-main, or maybe the third last fight, and Decky McAleenan and James Gallagher was the main event, and it was just a crazy fight. So much support, like, in the venue, and that was you know, incredible to see. You know, James has gone on to big things in Bellator, and then Decky as well is a serious amount of pro experience now, because they're both our pro debuts, and he's fighting Cage Warriors. I think he's doing well at the moment. So that was another you know, I was a few fights before now, so it's good to see. Hopefully my level is, like, you know, with those lads. That's the idea. I'm going to get to their level now that I'm old enough, kind of, I've grown enough to attempt it now. I've finished college as well, which is another reason why I put it off for a few years. I've got my degree, and now I'm ready to pursue the full MMA career, the pro career. So yeah, after that, then I was fighting at featherweight at the time. I didn't really know how to cut weight or anything, so I was quite small for the weight. So I was 5'1", having been fighting at featherweight. So I decided to move down to bantam for the first time then, and I fought for my first title then, first amateur MMA title against Dara Tallman, who was also pro now, and I won the decision. So that was my first title on Akuma. And then after that, then I ended up getting kind of a string of titles together after that, because I was 6-1. And when you get that kind of record at amateur, it's usually, like, good enough that promoters will try and, like, put a title on for you. You know. So as I was 6-1, the next fight I fought was on Headhunters in Scotland. That was a great show as well. I fought a guy, a Scottish guy over there, and I ended up winning decision as well. So that was my second title, and then my fight after that was also at bantam on Shinobi. I think nowadays Shinobi is changed its name to Cage Warriors Southwest or Southeast or something like that. It got taken over by the Cage Warriors franchise, but it was a great show of its own right, and I think it's run by the same people. So it's still a top show to be on. It was very one of my favourite shows to fight on, to be honest, and I won that belt as well at bantam. So that was 3 belts in 3 fights. It was about a 3-month period. So that was pretty impressive. And then I think so. I was about 8-1 then. the next fight I fought then, I believe, was I moved up to featherweight again to fight on Adrenaline, which is a Welsh show in Swansea, and I won that. I won that belt, so that was 4 belts, and I was, I think, 9-1 or so, and I like that. I think it was the co-main or the third last fight again, and the main event was Charlie Ward fighting. He was also was in the UFC, and now he's on Bellator. So that was another, like, I've always been kind of looking up to those guys that are just ahead of me, and I've been hanging around, and I'm hoping that I'm able to get to that level now when I go pro soon enough. So that was another belt, and then that was my 66 belt. So I had 3 bantams. I have 3 bantam belts, 1 66 belt, and then after that, then I fought for my first lightweight belt on I think it was Cage Ring Championships. I think it was called at the time. I think it was Cage Ring Championships. It was in the Rights venue anyway, which was cool, and I won. I won that then decision as well at 70. This was the same day 70. So it was at the time when I wasn't able to. I didn't really I didn't have any idea about nutrition or anything. So I was just walking somewhere around about 68 or 69. So to me, making a same day weight cut at 70 was fine. Just walking in kind of near on the way, and that worked. I did win the belt, so that's why I have the belts at 3 weights. So I have the 3 bantamweight belts, 1 feather at this point, and then the 1 lightweight belt. So then after that, then I went to defend my 66 title on Adrenaline, and then I got my second loss because I lost against a guy called Rory Evans from Wales, and he's on Cage Warriors now. He's doing well, but he won it. I lost a decision, close enough fight, but I didn't get the decision. So then I think I was 10-2 or 11-2 at that point when I went to the first IMAF then. So I was still only 17 at the time, so I had to spoof my age a little bit to get onto the IMAFs. So I went over, and at this point there was no junior categories because they hadn't added them into the format. So it was just open senior 18 plus. So I was just about 18. So it should have been fine. It was fine. I went over, and my first fight was against a 30-year-old American wrestler or something, and that just really I beat him. And then my next fight I fought that time was against a Romanian boxer with great hands. I ended up beating him as well because I was able to outpointed him a little bit on the feet, got the decision. And then my third fight in the semi-final then in Prague, this was a Prague 2016 tournament, I just got held down. I just got taken out. I couldn't stop the takedown against the Bulgarian fighter. And it was after that then when I really put a lot of effort into grappling and wrestling to try and bring that on. That was so important in the game. I completely couldn't do anything against this guy. He didn't stop me. I went to 3 rounds, but I couldn't get up. So that really put focus on my grappling kind of, or made me want to focus on that. So at this stage, I think I was 13-2, and I just IMAF medalled, and I had my 5 belts. So I was in a strong position going forward, and still am. I took about 6 months off fighting them because my eyesight had always been bad. I needed to wear glasses. Yeah. And I started to get where I was nearly failing the medicals, on the reading the letters off the board kind of thing. Okay. So I ended up getting laser eye surgery then in the December. So the November was the IMAFs, and I did the laser eye surgery, and I couldn't fight them for a while they recovered. And even now, to this day, they're still a bit more sensitive than they should be.
Than they were previously.
Yeah, because they kind of put new nerves in to replace the ones that are damaged or faulty. And those new nerves are hypersensitive because they're not really supposed to be in your eye. Yeah. You know. And so when I do get a poke in the eye, it's worse. Eye pokes are bad all the time, but it's worse than it should be. So that's something I've had to deal with since then. But it's okay. I know. Hopefully I don't get touched at all. With the head movement and all. But then my next fight after that was Lee Hammond in Ireland on Battlezone. So that was a main event. That was a big fight because he was the silver medalist in the same weight category as me, and I had lost in the semi-final against the same guy that had beaten him. So I was the bronze, he was the silver in the same weight. So this was kind of a fight to see who was the best Irish fighter of that Prague medal trip in the 70 category. And he beat me in the first round, handy enough. Took me down, mount, armbar kind of job, So that was another thing as well. I was I need to stay focused on this. I need to get better at grappling. And Lee's grappling is top quality.
Yeah, top notch.
So it's nothing really to be ashamed of, I suppose. But at the same time, that's where I need to focus on. So I've just been staying on it. And I was about 13-3 or so, something like that. My record was. I feel 15, 16 fights, halfway through my amateur career. But yeah, like the level of grappling in the IMAFs is a big deal, you know. So that's why I hit up another true IMAFs after that then
Yeah.
to keep on that kind of wavelength, you know. So after I fought Lee, then I won it. I think it was an interim title at 70 same day against Leon Hill. I won by armbar in the first. And I think Kieran Clark was the actual champ at the time, but was injured. So I never actually got the belt because it was just like, it was an interim title and Kieran still had the belt. So I never actually got it. So I don't really count that as one of my belts. But I think it was for an interim title or something at the time. So I won that. And then I went to Scotland to replace, as a late replacement for a guy called Chris Duncan, who
The problem,
the
155.
problem, yeah. So he's at the top pro fighter. I think he's 8-1 maybe.
Yeah, he was
Something
on
like
Dana White
He's on
Contender
Dana White
Series.
Contender, yeah. That's his only loss as well.
And it was a banger of a fight.
Yeah, he's a great fighter.
He,
Yeah, he's a great fighter. So I fought him, and the mad thing was I fought him at 74 kg day before weigh-in. And like when I go pro, I'm hoping to debut at bantam. So I was very undersized because I took it kind of late, and I knew Chris was a good guy, but it was probably a bad decision because the size and Chris's skill as well meant that I couldn't win. I retired after the second round from leg kick. He actually ended up breaking my shin bone from me checking his leg kicks. Real focused, methodical fire. Like he just chopped me down over the 2 rounds. In Scotland as well, the amateur fights, I don't know if this is always the case, but for the 2 times I fought in Scotland, the amateur fights are 4-minute rounds.
Oh, really?
Which is interesting. The 2 times I fought there, yeah. So when I first won my belt at bantam on Headhunters, it was 12 minutes for the fight. The fight was 12 minutes long. And then it was the same in the Chris fight. I did 8 minutes with him. Yeah, so I ended up losing that one. That was a tough one though, because Chris is top class and I was too small as well. It was a good experience to kind of like put yourself into the firing line sometimes, and like, you know, it's really going against you and you can hang in there for as long as you can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It shows like you have that heart, you know what I mean? So then I went for the 66 kg title on Cage Legacy next against Jack McGuire, and once again, you know, he proved his wrestling proved too much. You know, he took me down, I think, every round, most advanced position, probably most rounds, and you know, just it was a clear decision win for Jack. So that just showed me the same thing I needed to keep working on, you know. But I was getting better, and you know, it stuck to me, because I then went to the IMAFs in Rome after that, and I did it at junior then, so there was a junior category, and I was still, I think I was 20 now, and I went to Rome and I got a silver. I got to the final, had a few fights leading up to it. I beat the previous European champion in the semi-final, so that filled me with confidence. But I fought a top Kazakh fighter, and I lost a split, and it was close. You know, I thought I was beating him on the feet, and it was just a little bit of wrestling exchanges. He got a bit of better than, but it was much better wrestling exchanges than had been. So it was a split in the end, but I didn't get the decision. It was unfortunate that I didn't get the gold, because that would have been nice to come away with the gold. So that was my second IMAF medal out of 2, and that was another incredible achievement, I think, you know, for me, for 2 medals out of 2. So then the next fight after that was against Alex Yankov on Kilma. He's gone pro now. He's doing well. It's a great fight there against Marcin the other week, and I won in the second round. And then that was my 66. I got a 66 belt, so that was my second 66 belt, 3 bantam and 1 lightweight. Again on Kilma then, that was against Alex. So then after Alex, then I went to Bahrain in 2018. I think it was, yeah. 2018 Bahrain was, I came 3rd. I lost in the semis again against a Russian fighter, and the same kind of idea. Just the Russian wrestling was so strong. Like, first 2 rounds I was on the feet fighting, and then he took me down. So in the 3rd round I shot on him, thinking maybe I can put him on his back, see if he's as good at wrestling up. And as I shot, he hip threw me into the air straight away. Like that, their upper body clinch is so strong. So I ended up bronze there. So it's another medal as well. So I got medal 3 out of 3 at this stage. That was another good thing to take away. Same kind of ending, you know, with the Russians being too strong, the wrestling being too strong. But it was nice to take away another medal from the tournament, and that was at junior, yeah, that was at junior as well. So I had 2 junior, and then my next IMAF tournament was at senior. So I think the next fight I had was in the IMAFs then again at senior in Bahrain the following year, and like that I won two or three fights in the lead up to the semi final, and then a Kazakh fighter out wrestled me then, close enough fight again, but I was on my back for too long, and that was my another bronze. So 4 medals, 1 silver, 3 bronzes out of 4 IMAF competitions. And like it's incredible because like I was only thinking about it recently enough, like I have over 100 minutes in the IMAF cage. So
Wow.
1 hour 40 minutes or so in the IMAF cage. I was never stopped in any of my fights, and I won more than 50% of them. Or more than 50%. I won 9 out of 13 or something like that. And I've only lost 4 times. Something like, yeah, maybe 8, 9 and 13, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I can't do
4
the maths.
losses anyway,
I
yeah.
can't do the maths to do the percentage
4
on that.
losses and about 9 wins or so, something like that. So it was nice to have all those wins, have all those fights. But the main thing was like this was the highest level of amateur competition, you know, in the world, and you really see like it is because the IMAFs, like a lot of the IMAF guys, so many IMAF alumni have ended up in the UFC and like the likes of Bellator, top organisations that pro. Like Mohamed Mokaev was literally fighting on the IMAFs the last time I fought on it, and he's in the UFC already.
Yeah.
So you can make that transition quick because the level is so high. So having fought in the highest level 4 times, a medal every time, and been in there for about over an hour and 40 minutes with the best in the world, and I've never really been in any danger of being stopped either. Like just in losing positions that eventually the judges went against me when I did lose, and then I have my stoppages. I've won by armbar, I won by 2 armbars, TKO over there, that kind of thing. So I took a lot from that. I think just like, you know, going into other fights, it's like, you know, I've done an hour 40 minutes plus with the best amateurs in the world. Like, you know, this won't be the amateur fight where I get stopped either. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I take a lot from that as well. I'm not sure now if I'm the Irish fighter with the most IMAF cage time. I'm not sure. It's a possibility.
I guess so. I'll check that
Yeah,
out.
it's a possibility because there's the other ones that like Lee did about 4 as well, and he medalled. He got the gold medal as well. That was a big deal, winning that in the 70 kg category as well. Won the most stacked. That was a big deal for Lee. Obviously he's doing well pro now. He's training now and he's fighting I think next week now.
Yeah, he's on. Is he at that show with Centurion with Kiefer? And
I think he's on a German show. I think Centurion is Malta. I don't know what.
Oh
I don't know
no,
what the name
yeah,
is.
he is. Is it the Heroes League or
Might
something?
be something like that. I think he's on a German show. But that'll be his 4th pro fight, and then he won the gold. But yeah, I do. I might have more cage time. I'm not sure though. And Ryan's plan has I think 2 goals in the IMFs, and he has a lot of time as well. So I'm not sure if that's correct, but I do have a lot of time in the IMF cage anyway. So that makes me feel confident, kind of knowing that I've competed at that level for so long,
Yeah.
and being fine, you know, and held my own every time, you know. So that's always like something like that's been in my mind, you know, kind of driving me on, like, you know, makes me feel confident going pro. And then after that, then COVID arrived. I was supposed to fight Solomon in March 2020, and that fell through. I think it was the day before the fight. Then I was supposed to fight Palahan on Case Exes, that fell through, and Sean McConnell on Clan Wars, that fell through. So I went through that. I think it was at least a year and a half. No, it was actually nearly 2 years, I think, where there was no fights happening for me, even though I was trying to get fights, trying to train through the restrictions and that kind of thing as best as I could. But it didn't coalesce then until I went to fight on Clan Wars then against Tiernan, and that's my last amateur fight in August there, 2021. It was good. It was a good fight, you know. Close. I lost a split. I was impressed. I was impressed enough with my performance that I still was like, I'm going to go pro off this. 30 fights was such a round number. I've made a few mistakes, a bit of ring rust as well. Probably Tiernan was strong, but I was impressed enough with my performance that I was like, yeah, I'm still going to go pro off this. And so then basically I could have gone pro immediately. Then after that, in my own head, you know, I was ready to go with 30 fights. I wasn't going to have 31, and I'm not going to do another IMAX because I'm kind of sick of like coming up second and third at this stage. But the 4 of them were really, the 4 I did were really beneficial. But I was like, that's enough now. I'm ready to go. And basically what happened was after the Tiernan fight, I put my head down to focus on my college career, my final year in college in Trinity, to get the degree out of that. And then I got the degree there in May, just gone. So I'm ready to debut now. And while I was in college then, because I wasn't fighting, because I wasn't having any fights booked, it allowed me that extra time then to focus on the rest of the lads in the gym and as a coach, and kind of really embrace that coaching role while I knew I wasn't fighting for about a year. And I thought that it went really well because we've got a lot of like we've been just extremely active like over the year on all the shows. We've won belts. Keith's won two belts. So I defended them. We've had Jordan on the Super Cup team. Both Keith and Jordan joint won the nationals as well at their weight at 6'6", which was a big deal. We've got Ross back fighting now as well. He's had 3 fights since he's back, and he last fought 5 years before he fought Gary Rooney.
Yeah.
So he was out for that long, and it was great to have him back because he's a top lad to train with, top lad to. Like I was saying, I was telling you earlier that when I fought Darth home for that belt in 2016, it was Ross who was in my corner. You know, that's 6 years ago. You know, so he's been going a long time. He's very skilled, and you'll be seeing a lot of things from him. Hopefully now going forward, he's fighting for the Irish team with Keith and Jordan in 2 weeks' time, less than 2 weeks' time now, on the Four Nations Championships in Liverpool. So I'll be going there with them as a coach, and that's another great experience as well. Also being an Ireland team coach this year. So I fought training in August and then focused on my college and coaching. And I got my first Ireland team coaching gig in Prague in September when my sister won the World Cup. And I was able to coach her, and I was in the corner for a lot of the other lads, catching passes and that kind of thing. It was great, you know, being in the corner with the likes of Andy Ryan, and I was in the corner with John in Abu Dhabi when he was over there, and I was in the corner with Liam Ogan. I'm not sure if I got in the corner with Kieran, but just training and seeing how they coach was incredible, just to see, you know, from what I want to do with our own gym here in CMAC.
Yeah.
To learn off them, all those top coaches like. So I got to coach in Prague, and then I got to coach in Abu Dhabi with the Ireland team, and now I'm going over to coach in Liverpool with the rest of the Ireland team that are going there. So as well as my pro career going to kick off, I think the coaching and CMAC in general have been doing particularly well this year. We've got a good few lads. Like that Kenny was with us for his whole amateur career, and then his first 2 pro fights where he was training more with us. But then now for this fight, he's just SPG for his next Bellator fight. But like, you know, we came up with him the whole way.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's going to be on Bellator, it's just such an inspiration kind of for the rest of the lads. Like, that's where we want to be. Do you know what I mean? And myself going pro, and then the rest of the lads going, hopefully in the years after, like, because they're quite young. You know, even Keith, he's 9-0 now, which is a great amateur record, but he's still only, I think he just went 21, so he's got time, you know, to really round out his skill set and go pro then in a few years' time. The likes of Jordan as well, and we're all still young, and they're gonna like be solid fighters when they go pro, you know, in a few years' time. Like myself, I'm gonna take the leap now and be pro myself now with 30 fights, but the rest of them will follow suit. And yeah, the gym is just really coming on in general. Like, you know, I think it's just a great atmosphere here, and we've got a few lads that are just cracking the amateur scene now that are going to be top quality in the next few months and years. You'll see coming from CMAC. So yeah, we've got our beginners classes coming on here recently as well. Hopefully those lads will be sticking at it, and we'll have an even larger team going forward now as well. So just a lot of kind of momentum, I think, going with us at the moment. Personally, in my personal career, and also as a coach of CMAC, the gym in general is flying along. So it's savage really to be involved with it and see like that, like the likes of Kenny on Bellator now, that I was training with for so long, really came up with us like all his amateur career, like. So seeing that skill set, same skill set, he's going to use on the top level is incredible. Like. And like that I was saying earlier, all the times I fought as an amateur, like co-main or like high up the card, close to these lads like Reese and that kind of thing that have gone on to the UFC, knowing that like I've been near that level as an amateur and then fighting in the IMAFs at the highest level, that gives me a lot of confidence now for pro, knowing that like I'm going to be able to, you know, hopefully get to the highest level I can fight at. Hopefully that's top organisations like the UFC, and I have no actual debut set yet, so it's still a little bit up in the air where I'll actually debut. But time-wise, hoping the end of the summer, maybe late August, early September. That's what I'm looking for. As I like put that pro camp in properly, you know, proper shape as well. And I'm also moving back down to bantam for the first time in 5 years or so. Like I have the 3 bantam belts. I'm undefeated at bantam as well, which is a good sign, because I feel big at that weight, you know, as well as technical and skillful and that kind of thing. Whereas usually I'm a little bit undersized, maybe still at feather, and definitely at lightweight and even 74, which was a bit mad. But I think bantam is going to suit me a lot. Now I understand the nutrition and the weight cuts and that kind of thing much better. I'm pretty sure I have that almost down now. So, and I'll obviously be constantly improving as well. So like I'm looking to really hit the ground running now late summer, start of autumn, with the pro debut, and then just go from there. Hopefully rack up a good few fights. You know, I'm not looking to hang around because I don't feel I don't think I really need to like take the pro career very slow, if you know what I mean, because the 30 amateur fights, the reason I did that was so that I brought myself to a level that I can hopefully compete with pros quickly, you know.
Yeah.
And hopefully like kind of progress through the pro game quicker than if I had less amateur fights and then kind of learning as I go pro.
Yeah.
You know. So hopefully I kind of have the skills to kind of rack up a few wins quick and look to get on a major organisation in the near future, you know. You know, 2023 kind of vibe, like hopefully, if everything goes well. Like. So, but yeah, that's kind of the journey that we've been on. Obviously, my mother, Deborah O Sullivan, runs the gym with me. She's runs everything that's like all the logistics of the gym. You know, everything that's I don't want to have to do. You know, it's not to do with fighting and all. She takes all that, and then like that, she's fought in the IMAFs. She's fought in Scotland. On Headhunters herself. She has those MMA fights, she has the MMA experience. She's also a kickboxing black belt, and she's an ISKA K1 champion as well. Same belt as me, which is another cool thing as well.
Yeah,
I think we might be the only mother-son combo in the IMAFs as well. She fought in the IMAFs for Ireland as well. And we're probably the only mother-son coaching combination as well in Ireland at the moment, as far as I'm aware of. So that's pretty cool too, yeah. But she's a big deal in the club. Like, you know, without her, it wouldn't be able to run at all, to be honest. Like, I just don't have the head on me yet to do all the logistics properly. I'm much more kind of, you know, coaching, technique, you know, that kind of thing, rather than all the rest of the stuff that's involved in running gyms and management and media and, you know, all that kind of stuff. You know, there's more to it than you'd imagine.
Yeah.
You know, as most people find out whenever you get involved in something, there's a lot to it. So, yeah, she's absolutely crucial. And then having my sister involved as well, so closely fighting all the whole time, is great. The whole family's involved. Like my brother as well hasn't had any amateur fights, but he's been doing novice fights and stuff like that as well. He might even have an amateur fight. He's actually very good. And then all the lads from the gym that I've come up with in the area, like the whole gym is just local. Like, you know, we've just come up together. So with that like kind of bond, it's very easy to get things flowing, or like make sure that everything runs well. Because even if I'm not around the day or something comes up, we'll have like the likes of Ross, who's been here for years, Keith, been here for just forever, Jordan, all those lads, all the like the senior fight team in the club have been here for ages. So they know the way it's run. They know how like the atmosphere, the vibe of CMAC as well as I do. Yeah. So having that in the class every night is just you know, essential to the atmosphere that we're looking to propagate up here, like, you know. And like that, the younger lads coming through, like Ryan, he's had 2 fights, but he's looking very promising because, like that like we've been really training seriously, you know, focused on developing our younger team and our newer team since COVID, because that kind of setback, the year where we lost, just allowed us like a lot of, I feel like some people didn't manage to come back after it at all. Like I think the faces, some of the MMA scene has changed a bit. Some of the old faces might not be there at all anymore. But then there's loads of new faces, and the people that did come through it have come back refocused. You know, it's like now they've seen what life was like without MMA. You know, when you couldn't do it. So it's like, let's not take it for granted anymore. And everyone's head is down, everyone's training, we're fighting. Like CMAC are on pretty much every show, every week. So coming up, we've got Liverpool with the 3 of our lads on the Irish team, and then we've got at the same weekend now, unfortunately, I'm away and so are all the other senior lads. We've got 6 lads in the novice national MMA leagues up in Satori.
Yeah.
So we've become quite close to the Satori recently as well. We were training a good bit together because they're so close. There's no reason not to. And they have that your man Jake, who won at the weekend. He's on your own team too. So like that, we've become quite close with them training the kind of D15 nearly as a whole entity of MMA.
Yeah.
So that's been good too. But like that, up in Satori, they run the national MMA leagues, which is essential for the fighters because the face of Irish MMA now, with the knowledge and like the high level coaching, like you've got every gym has top coaches really in it at this stage, like you know what I mean, experienced coaches. So every fighter that's coming out at amateur pretty much knows how to do everything they need to know. So like if you just come straight into that, if you just throw lads straight into that, it's very tough. So kind of getting to learn the basics or learn what it's like to be in the cage, because that's that that vibe is different. You know, it's different from sparring. Like you can't replicate in sparring.
Yeah.
Because someone is actually trying to hurt you in there. They're trying to get you out of there. They're trying to make it hurt you enough, put you in a bad position enough that the ref is going to stop it. You don't really get that vibe in training because even at the heaviest bars, you shouldn't be trying to knock you out. And if it goes too heavy, the coach, myself, whatever, is going to step in and stop it. So there's never really that kind of intensity that like it's gonna, I might actually get knocked out or I might actually get injured here, because it's going to be stopped, calmed down and separated if anything goes too heavy. And you already know that when you're sparring. Whereas when you're fighting, you know you're going in there into the lines then or whatever, and it's just you and him. Only the ref's going to stop it when you're done, you know. So it is a different voice. So getting kind of used to fighting, and it is very important. So the national MMA leagues just up the road there, that's Satori do, are really beneficial. So we've got 6 of our novice fighters on it, like that, lads that were just about to go amateur. Some of them are only having their first novice fights, and some of them are nearly going to go amateur. And it's done well. So it's tiered. There's like beginner, intermediate, and beginner, novice, intermediate kind of way. So if you've been training a year or so, you're in the beginner. And if you're training longer, like basically ready to go amateur, you're in your intermediate category, having like kind of sussing it out before you kind of fight on the local shows where it's a bit more intense. So that's very beneficial. We have 6 lads on that next week, or 2 weeks time, not this weekend, the one after, and we've got 3 lads in Liverpool. And then only 2 weeks after that, then we've got one of our lads fighting on Cage Legacy, and then we've got 4 lads fighting on Cage Conflict after that. So it'll be a big card for us as well. And then we've already got lads matched in August on Premier and that kind of thing. So we've pretty much got lads on almost every show coming up. So, and that's the way it has been since we've kind of reopened from COVID, because like that, there's no reason hanging around, because before, like, COVID was such a curveball, you know, just came out of nowhere, shut everything down. But like I think that was kind of a lesson to not take things for granted, you know. Like things might not be the way they are for forever or even for that long. So it's time to, when it's available, when there's loads of shows happening, when there's training available, you know, do it, you know. And like that, if anyone's watching who wants to get into MMA, you know, do it. You know what I mean? You might not be able to do it at some point in the future, like, because we couldn't do it for about 2 years there, and it hit a lot of people hard. So yeah, you know, it's coming out to CMAC. We've got our beginner classes going on. If you're local, if you're not, there's just gyms everywhere at this stage, and there's top coaches in literally almost all of them. So you'll get the good technique. You'll be able to fight from all the gyms. Like Irish MMA, you know, COVID put it through a bit of a time when it wasn't able to function. But at the moment, Irish MMA, especially amateur MMA, really, like, all the lads coming through are it's in one of the best shape it's ever been. You know, like that. It's stringently safe. The safety, everyone's getting MRIs. I'm getting my pro MRI on Friday for when I debut. I need to have that done. Everyone's all the ambulance crews, the cut teams. You got your bloods taken, your medicals done. Everything is all above board. So it's safe as it's ever been to get involved, and it's absolutely hopping at the moment. The shows every weekend, which is just great for the lads coming through. Like I've managed to have 30 fights, and that was really rare. Like I'm the only one that's done it, and that record won't last, you know, at the way it's going with people fighting so frequently. There's going to be people with more than 30 before we know it, you know. Yeah. That'll become the norm, to have at least 20, you know what I mean? It used to be the norm to go pro almost after you've had a few wins at amateur, you know, back in the day. But it's going to be the norm now with the whole tournament format, with the IMAF format, with the national championships that happen. They'll be happening every year now. Yeah. You'll get 3 fights in a week.
I really like that before you get to go there. You actually get to fight the best in the country
Absolutely,
first,
absolutely.
prove yourself, and then go, and
Absolutely,
then so
yeah.
you're getting another 2-3 fights.
Yeah.
Then you go there, like you
And you
said.
get another 2, 3, 4, 5 fights, and you're the strongest representative from Ireland because you've won your way to it. You know,
Yeah.
there was no like there's no ambiguity to it anymore. You know, if you've won your nationals, that's you've beaten everyone who entered the competition at your weight. You're ready to represent Ireland. You know, I think that's really the nationals that happened in, I think it was February, were a big deal. You know, they were so good because even, you know, usually you're in that show, and that show feeling, like being at a show where there's the crowd and everyone's drunk and screaming. It is good for replicating what it's going to be like when you're pro, because that's what it's going to be like when you're pro. You're going to be on those big lights. But at the same time, for gaining experience, like the nationals, I think we weighed in something like 7 a.m. or something, maybe even earlier, and then most of the fights were over by like 10. Like, see, we just went in, fought. There was no crowd, only other fighters and coaches, but it's full on fights.
Yeah.
So you're getting proper technique, you're getting proper fight experience, but just quick, you know, and without the whole hassle of like a build up and a publicity and the crowd and all that. Just technique. Because then when you go to the IMAX, that's what it's like. There's no crowd there to support you. There's only the rest of the Ireland team, really. You know, people don't really bring supporters over for the most part. Like, it was always actually good at the Super Cup. We had like media teams like yourselves and stuff over.
Raz went over,
Raz went
and I can't remember his name, but Fighter 365. He went and documented their journeys, which is quite cool.
That was incredible. Like, just kind of because it is interesting to see what it's actually like over there. It is almost like an Olympic kind of vibe, but because MMA is not in the Olympics. But if it is going to the Olympics, I would say it's most likely it will go through the IMAF body. That will become the Olympic body. So we'll keep the similar format, and it's well run. It's highly run. Like, you know, there's even drug testing and all that, and it's all above board. Like, it's top class. It really is. All the teams from around the world. It was, you know, an incredible experience for me to do 4, medal in 4. It gives me that confidence as a pro that I'm going to be well able for whatever comes at me, especially in the start of my career, you know. And that's me next now. So hopefully pro, elbows, knees to the head, 5-minute rounds. Like, that's it. Back in the day, there was actually, I've got knee in the head before, like, because back in the day there was knees to the head. When I first started fighting amateur, you can't knee to the head anymore. But I've like I remember specifically Dara Tallman kneed me in the head. So that was 2016 or so. Like, you know, you could get knee to the head still then. So I even have that, I think, a little bit as well. Like, you know, I used to train for that, you know. So I think I'm ready for this pro, to be honest. Maybe even over ready, but at the same time, I'm only 23. I've got a college degree as well. If something goes wrong, to fall back on, which I just think I want to enjoy MMA because I do. I enjoy the sport, so I want to be able to enjoy the journey without having the pressure of the ultimate success, or otherwise there's nothing.
Yeah.
So I can kind of, now when I have that degree in the back pocket, just kind of approach it with a bit of a, you know, an upbeat, like looking forward to it. Like, you know what I mean? If it goes great, it goes great. If it doesn't, there's something else there for me. You know what I mean? So I'm ready to hit the ground running, to be honest now. Putting a lot of work in over the last few weeks, getting in shape. I had a holiday there in Italy with my girlfriend after I got my degree, to kind of settle after the year of hard work, coaching and college, and now I come back just refreshed and ready to go. So hopefully you'll see me in pro gloves now by the end of the summer, early September. Yeah, for sure, to be honest, that should happen. Yeah.
Perfect. That's the question everybody wanted to ask you, was the pro, because you've been around for such a long time. So congratulations first and foremost on your degree,
Thank you.
on your career to date, and the start of your coaching career. I want to just circle back to 1 or 2 points that you mentioned. Your amateur debut, obviously you'd fought and won belts and been in the boxing tournaments. What did it feel like to make that first MMA walk? How did that feel? What was the feelings? Can you even remember?
Yeah, no, I do remember. It was a difference. Like, it was kind of interesting in that I'd done the K1 shows, and those shows are quite similar. As in, there's a crowd of kind of drunk people, you know, the usual.
Yeah.
The Saturday night venue, it was the same. It's similar at the K1 shows. It's not quite as intense, I found, but it's similar enough. However, the difference for me really was just like when I was doing my amateur K1 fights, you'd be there in your big shin guards, boxing gloves, But like going out for my first amateur fight, you know, no shin guards, just a little MMA gloves, nothing else. That was you feel a bit like exposed nearly, like going out and knowing that, you know, this is so much more to this fight. You know, it can go to the deck. There's so much, like there was so much on my mind, like what could have gone wrong, you know, or like what I'd be shown up in, like what aspect of the vast game of MMA I'd lack in. You know, this guy's gonna take me down. He could sub me, he could triangle me, he could knock me out. He could knee me in the head at the time. He could do so. There was so much options, and I just was going in there thinking how much things could go wrong, nearly, you know. But then kind of reassuring me was the fact that I had done boxing, I'd done K1, I was successful in both of them. I'd done judo from such a young age, and I've done jiu-jitsu, that I'm actually capable of what I'm doing. I went out there and I won by TKO, and then like that, I just built on that, and as I won, as I was successful, as I continued to do well, like that, I've only been stopped in my 30 fights. I only stopped by Lee by armbar and Duncan by leg kick retirement. That's the only times I've got stopped in my career of 30 fights. And both of them, like, you know, I wasn't in mad danger myself of getting, like, you know, knocked out or anything. They were just the leg kicks and the armbar. I felt kind of safe. I could just tap, but my leg couldn't stand up anymore. So I've never really been in like I've never felt like proper in dangerous situations and all there. So I did be quite confident going in, and my confidence built like that over the 30 amateur fights, and that's the point of having them. It went from that first fight, like you were saying, what it felt like to go in there with doubts, with like MMA is such a vast game. There's so much the move set, so much technique to it. How many do I not know? How much am I gonna like lack when I go in there? But then after 30 fights, that's gone now. You know, I feel like confident. I feel whatever area of the game it goes to, I should be able to give a good account of myself. You know, so that's gone. So now it's just kind of it's become a little bit more like, you know, just enjoy the experience out there. At the same time now, when you're a pro, you want to be putting strings of wins together to get onto bigger promotions. So it does become important. That victory does become important. So that's that, and game planning and making sure you come out with that W for the most part is very important. That pro. But at the same time, I'm confident I can do that because of all my amateur fights. So I've changed like that from that first walkout. So hopefully the pro walkout won't be the same. You know, it won't be the same for sure.
No, it won't be.
Yeah.
When you had your first amateur fight, did you plan that you were going to have a lot? Did you plan you were going to 30s? I don't think you would have planned to have 30, or did you? But like, did you plan on having 10, 20, or were you just going to take it and go, I'll see when I'm ready? Was that your thinking?
I was going to see when I'm ready. Yeah, that's it. Like I pretty sure I had pro offers coming at me since I was about like 8 fights in. You know, I'd won, like I was saying earlier, I'd won those 3 belts at bantam. There was people saying, "Oh, you're gonna go pro at bantam now? Like, this fight's there for you, you know, that kind of thing. You've got 3 belts, you're 8-1 or something. You look great." But I was still only 17, so that was always kind of something that was like, you know, why rush it? Do you know what I mean? And like that, I would have been tempted, especially when I was like that on such a streak. When I was like 10-1, I was on a 6-fight win streak, and then losing to Lee, losing to Fairdown was the Bulgarian guy's name that beat me in that IMAFs. Like, convincingly to them was like, okay, I've got so much more to learn. I'm still only 18. Take my time. When I go pro, I want to be able to be comfortable in there, that I can go at any range and win. You know, I don't want to be going out there learning basic stuff that I should be knowing at amateur, at pro. I don't want to be doing that. I want to make sure every fundamental is covered. Yeah. And obviously that's like, it's constantly improving. I have to constantly be improving. I have to be constantly improving as I'm pro. I have to be constantly improving right now as a coach and a fighter. And that's something I think that the coaching benefits me as a fighter, because doing a technique is, you know, doing it for yourself to make it work in a fight is a way, is you know, it works. Everyone does that. But I do think that breaking a specific technique down to be able to coach it efficiently to other people, you have to understand it a little bit more. You have to be able to properly understand how it works to be able to coach it. So in that way, I feel like the coaching over the last few years has kind of really brought on my own game, my own technical game, my own ability to like game plan and approach fights from a tactical perspective. As a coach has really helped me to do that, because I need to do it for my fighters, but for myself, I feel like I've got a better in-depth kind of knowledge of a lot of the game really from coaching, that I don't think I would have like gone so in depth or like took such a focus on things if I wasn't a coach and a fighter at the same time. So I do think that benefits me in that way. Obviously, coaching comes with the other responsibilities of coaching all the lads and make sure how they're getting on as well as myself. So it brings on some added stuff, but I enjoy it, to be honest. So yeah, I think it benefits me in depth knowledge of the stuff, and
Yeah.
as long as I, can really fit them both in, which I find I am no problem at the moment. It's going great, to be honest.
How did you find that transition? Because obviously, as a high level amateur fighter, and then to go, you've got this responsibility of coaching now, and you're coaching good lads like Ross, Jordan, Key, Ryan. You've got the Nolan brothers. You've got a heap of good fighters here. To then you're in control of their training, their destinies as such. Like, how did you find that transition at such a young age? And then also, you had your college, you have a job, you have everything else to go. How did you transition, and how did you find a balance for everything?
Yeah, so I mean, like, this last year has been hectic because college, fourth year college in Trinity, I was doing history. Just there's a lot of writing involved in the dissertation and that kind of thing. There was a lot to do, a lot of study to do on that. At the same time, I know how important it is to the lads to train properly, to give themselves the opportunities to win, to take the right fights. So, to be honest, that was always more important to me even than college. So I had to make sure I got through college and I got the grades I wanted and I got my degree. But I was always a little bit more focused on the training, really. And then I have this job. I work in the local Wetherspoons. That just keeps the income coming in, make sure that I can actually live while I do this passion, So it was hard to balance. That's why I couldn't take a pro fight in this year. So now everything has come with the degree gone. I've got much more time. I feel like I can focus as a coach because, like I say, it brings me on as a fighter. But yeah, having the responsibility of the lads, like top lads themselves, already is interesting in that. Like, I feel like I can coach them to a high level at amateur because I've fought at the highest level, say 4 times in the IMAFs against the top lads and always held my own, and like that gives me the confidence to coach these lads to that level. But at the same time, there's aspects of the game that the lads are already better than me at, individually at least, different aspects of the game. So I'm improving off them, they're improving with me. So we're gonna come up together, like, and yeah, like in that way, like it's great. It's very interesting. As in, like, say I'm teaching. Obviously, I'm teaching them techniques and that kind of thing, and then it comes to sparring, and they're using those techniques against me, and like I'm not holding anything back. Like, I'm showing them exactly what I know and how to do certain things. So like then they use it against me, and it's like, fuck, this is hard to get past. Yeah. And like, first of all, that makes me think, okay, the techniques are working, because like me with my 30 fights, I am a high level amateur, an experienced amateur, at the highest level, ready to go pro. So if they work against me, then I know they'll work against other amateurs.
Yeah.
So that's the idea anyway. So yeah, it's savage because it brings me on again then, because I'm like, okay, they're doing everything I've told them. They're doing everything I've taught them in this spar. So, and now I'm struggling to against my own stuff.
Yeah.
And they're doing it properly, and then whatever characteristics they bring themselves, like Keith's incredible flexibility, Ross is incredible timing and reaction time with his shots. Ryan is obviously 6'5", and everyone brings their own thing. Jordan's incredibly quick. Everyone brings their own thing. So when they do those techniques, then it brings me on, because then I have to think to myself, how would I get around this now? Yeah. So first of all, like, that brings my own game on, thinking about how I'm going to like get past my own defenses to things. But at the same time, if I do uncover like a way to get past that, it exposes a weakness then that we can then try to fix. So it's like, it's constant, like, it's like a laboratory, like, really, like, you're coming in here doing like experiments nearly on MMA, trying to figure out different ways around things, different techniques that work, techniques that did work but not working in a certain way. How are we fixing that? Or something new that's like, oh, this was really good, let's bring that on, like, do you know what I mean? So we just, because we've been training for so long together, it builds that way, you know what I mean? And you can see, I think a lot of the lads do fight in a similar style, so you can really see where that comes, where like kind of the team is like the core fundamentals are coming through. But like that, everyone has their own individual characteristic style. Like that, as a coach, you can't force everyone to fight exactly the same, because like that, I'm 5'8", Ryan is 6'5". The same techniques don't work in his weight category for his build. Like, if I want to shoot double legs all the time, he's 6'5", he probably shouldn't be shooting double legs. He should be using his range and that kind of thing. So that's just a basic example, very polarized. But like, it's even with people that are more similar build to me, they can't fight the same as me. So I'm never going to coach them to fight the same as me. I'm going to give them techniques to use. They're going to build it into their arsenal and find out what works for them, and then we go forward with that. And it's working so far. The lads are coming on incredibly. Just there's lots of progress, but lots of momentum. I think is the key word at the moment for the gym. Like that, we've been training. We train with compound because you were out with Alex the other day as well. We were cross training the compound. Hopefully, going to do a good bit more of that as well. And even cross training with other gyms as well. Like a good few lads I want to train with, coach I want to train with, pick their brains, that kind of thing. Bring it back to here, bring the lads over to there, crossbar and that kind of thing. That's all going forward now. Hopefully, like that. The MMA scene is, I think, the most cohesive it's ever been. Like as in like gyms, not exactly training together, but everyone is like on a similar wavelength. I find.
Yeah.
And I think the reason for that is the IMAF Ireland team kind of vibe. Everyone goes away. We're all on the same team. We stay in the same hotel, and you have to train together for the thing. So you get closer, and I think that it's brought the whole scene together. Like it's quite a nice vibe. I enjoy it anyway. I enjoy the whole Ireland team system. Like I was saying to you a little bit prior to this. I was over in yesterday. I was doing a coaching course in SBG HQ with Danny Core about the basically issues that we need to take proper care of in MMA at the moment in Ireland to make sure that everything is running properly, that we get hopefully very soon recognised as a sport and this kind of thing, so there's no more ambiguity to rules and that kind of thing. We need to be a proper sport, and then we can get government funding and that kind of thing, because like that we go to the IMAFs and the Russians and that kind of thing, massive amount of money in the sport coming from there.
They're actually paid salaries, I think,
Paid
to
salaries,
go
I
over,
think,
yeah.
And then it's all out of our own pocket really until the Super Cup. It's all been out of our own pocket trying to go over there. So it's fundraising, it's working extra hours that cuts into your training time to try and get to afford flights over and hotel accommodation.
Yeah.
Whereas the Russians full time
It's their
training,
job.
Bahrain, a lot of other teams, it's their job. So, and despite that, we're always medaling up there. Like the reason we're in the Super Cup is because we're in the top 8.
Yeah.
There's only top 8, and Ireland is still there despite never mind getting no funding. Like I think it was the Finnish coach, and he was complaining about how his Finnish team only got given a 20 grand government subsidy, and I was like, well, you know, if we got like 20 quid, it would be sound from because we're not even a sport, you know. So yeah, like that's hopefully going to happen over the next few years. But it's so important that we follow all the rules, and that's what we were doing with Danny yesterday. So that's what we have to do as coaching courses. But at the same time as the coaching course going on with Danny, there was Danny Nealon, the pro female fighter from SPG for Bellator. She was taking the Irish like cadet class, which was like all the Irish cadets from different clubs who are going from between the age, I think it's 12 and 17, who are going to be going to the IMAFs and training together as a national team. And I think they do it like maybe once a month on a Sunday. We don't have any cadets here at the moment, so that's why none of our lads are down there. We're all adults at the moment, but hopefully we'll be doing more kids for the local area and that kind of thing soon. But at the moment we don't have any, so it was just interesting for me to watch and just see all the kids training together. Like they're going to grow up, and it's going to be like the high performance in the boxing team that I was exposed to when I was 14, 15 and that kind of thing, where you're all training together. The best athletes are going, and there's going to be that healthy competition between them going for their spots.
Yeah.
And there won't be the same kind of gym rivalry. More so, it's going to be like rivalry from in individuals from each gym, but they train together. They're friendly, but at the same time they're going to be bringing each other on, and then making sure that all the Ireland team are getting coached by someone who's as credentialed as Danny Nealon, and making sure all the kids are at a similar level, getting shown the same techniques. We'll be, and when we're recognised by the government, we'll be like those Russian teams. Like everyone going over it with the proper coaching since they were a young age, proper philosophy, and hopefully now going forward, government endorsed. Hopefully, you know what I mean, with a bit of money, and it will make it even better, you know. So there's lots to work on that, and that's why another thing that I've really picked up this year was the fact that I was on the Ireland team coaching staff for the last two one-offs. Instead of, it was interesting to look at it from the other side, like having fought on the team 4 times and then having coached on it twice.
Yeah.
I've actually done 6 one-offs, 2 as a coach and 4 as a fire. It's interesting looking at it from the other end of the spectrum, you know. But I honestly really enjoyed it, so I'd love to, even pursue that as well as my own pro career. I'd love to continue as a coach, hopefully maybe as an Ireland team coach, hopefully someday in the future as well, like what Danny's doing.
Yeah.
Imparting my knowledge to the younger generation, so that's another goal of mine, to be honest. A little bit of a side goal, because the pro MMA is going to take so much focus to be successful in it. But at the same time, the coaching is going to be continuing, CMAC's going to be continuing. So I'm hoping to continue in a similar way, the coaching and the fighting, and maybe an Ireland team, staying on the Ireland team, helping out, being an Ireland team coach. It's another kind of another dream of mine, really. Yeah.
I want to ask you a question actually. What does being a coach mean to you? If I say, what is a coach? What does being a coach mean to you? What does it mean to you being a coach? And how does it make, like, obviously you said you're seeing the lads, obviously you want to do it to give back. So you just explain to me what a coach...
Yeah, it's certainly to give back and just kind of impart my own knowledge. So there's no point keeping it all to myself, really. Like, I'm not going to be able to compete for 50 years. I'm only going to compete for like one in my prime. 23 now, it won't, by my late 30s now, it's usually like the twilight of your career. So I want to be able to continue being involved in the sport of MMA because I do have a passion for it, hopefully. After that then, still coaching. So I'm coaching now, and I'm like building that at the moment. But like, first of all, being able to coach people and watch them improve is incredibly rewarding. But even just the fact that like it gives young people stuff to do, to like, because we're all local. I've seen them all of our lads in the local area, like, and even what COVID, looking at it through COVID, when people don't have that kind of structure and that passion that they want to do, it's hard to be motivated in life in general. So just giving access to people who are passionate about MMA, me allowing my passion, enabling them to grow as fighters and individuals. So like, it was actually at the coach course yesterday. I think it was Liam Og. It was Liam Og that said to me, his goal as a coach is to create an atmosphere in a gym, like a good atmosphere in a gym that people can come up to and enjoy and have fun while also learning. That's like his kind of goal as a coach, and I agree with that. It's first and foremost like having that kind of atmosphere you can come up with, train, have a good time while you're improving. And obviously it's going to be difficult. There's parts that have to be hard, because it's MMA, it's a tough sport.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it doesn't have to be super hard and horrible.
Yeah.
Every few minutes,
A good atmosphere.
A good atmosphere, I think, is so important, and like cultivating that in the gym, like that, because that's all local lads. We've been together for a long time. There's a lot of there is that quite familial kind of aspect to our gym, and there's like that in a lot of gyms, to be fair. Not every gym, but a lot of them do have that core group that like are almost like a family, and we have that going on here. But at the same time, you don't want to be clannish and like have that core group and then not really be
welcome to others.
Yeah, welcome to others. So you kind of have to balance that, and I think we do a pretty good job. As in, we have new people coming in quite a bit now, joining the team, fitting in lovely. And like I say, hopefully you'll see a lot of the CMAC lads that haven't been on the amateur scene coming through now in the next few months and years, and hopefully doing well. That's another thing that I want to be. As a coach, you want to be successful. How you gauge success, is it simply the win, or is it how they performed? That's up to you. I think it's, as long as you can see progression, even if they don't win, you're going the right way. It's only when you see and the fighter seems to be stagnating. Like even myself, I want to be constantly improving. Even if I don't get the result I'm looking for, but if I see the improvements in my game, I'm like, okay, I'm going on the right path, and you can continue on that. It's only when you're like, I don't know how to improve. That's when it starts to be daunting. And I've never really had that in my career, to be honest. And I hope that none of the lads in CMAC have that, because the idea is that we're constantly growing, and that's so important to growth as a coach. Just constantly improving new aspects of your game, improving your fundamentals at all times. And when that happens, if you are constantly improving, you will be winning. You will get, the wins will come anyway.
Yeah.
So rather than focusing on the results, focusing on improving, I think the wins will come anyway. Like I say, at pro, it's a little bit more important to actually get the result, I think, because the big shows want you with that winning record. But at amateur, like, if you're going to go pro, it goes back to 0-0 anyway. Like my 30 amateur fights are great, but like I'm going to be back to 0-0 as soon as I hit my first pro fight. Now, obviously my skill level is still 30 amateur fights or whatever, but as my record looks, it's back to 0. So record at amateur, it's more important to some people than to others. If you're not going to go pro, then you can always look back on your amateur record. Like there's loads of amateur boxers out there that will be like, oh, my amateur boxing record is this, and I'm incredibly proud of it. So it is nice to have like your amateur record and be proud of it as well. But at the same time, if you're looking to go pro, it's not going to stay.
It's a tool for learning,
It's
really.
a tool for learning for the most part. So like people can approach it in different ways, and depends on what it means to you. And as a coach, like I've been saying, tailoring your coaching approach to different individuals is very important. So some people who are maybe they're older and they know that they're not going to be able to pursue a professional career in MMA, but they love having a few amateur fights. Perhaps their amateur fights and their actual results for them are much more important to them. So it's important to match them properly. Fights they can, they have a chance to win. Obviously, I wouldn't plan for it and a chance that if they don't have a chance to win. You could say that you could do that. You could say that's good to just learn the experience. But I do think every loss is a little bit demoralising. You don't really want to be having that.
Yeah.
So for the most part, you want to be matching with your lads in good matchups that they're going to be tested.
Yeah.
But at the same time that they have an opportunity to win. So it's that delicate balance where like you don't want to overmatch your fighters, but you want to match them where they're going to be pushed and touched and shown to have a chance to like show their improvements, and that's something I'm learning and improving on as a coach, as we speak, and hopefully we'll continue to do so. As I progress to pro, I'll be looking then back at the amateurs. Maybe my mindset, my perspective will change. I do think that's important as a person as well as just a coach in general, that you're open, you're malleable, and you're open to changing your perspective on things as you learn, because first of all the world does change, and second of all you're just wrong loads of times. You just got to accept that, you know what I mean? And if your ego doesn't get to you where you have to pretend that you were never wrong, like it's better then, because you can prove, you can change, and you can be better straight away. So that's why I'm trying my best, as everyone is, to be open-minded and learn as I go. At the same time also having those fundamentals that I believe in as my core, and hopefully not letting them waver too much, my fundamental beliefs. And I think it runs through. I try to kind of run that through CMAC, and a lot of fighters kind of follow a lot of them. I think
Yes, good to have the core values, but then have interchangeables that are on the outside. I've really enjoyed this chat, and especially you've brought us through a journey of Irish MMA as well, where you can actually see how it's evolved and how it went from back then, how hard it was to get fight, and then you've said as well, the fast improvements of the guys now, and then what you're talking about the cadets for the future. What we're seeing now is more kind of people who came around or started when Connor, so they would have started their late teens, and now they're starting at kids age. So it's going to be unbelievable.
The next wave is going to be better. There's no doubt about it. And it's nearly tragic for me, because there's no doubt that these kids that are training, that I seen training yesterday at the national training for 12-year-old MMA fighters, they will be better than me by the time they're 23. If they weren't, it would be a shame. Because the work they're going to put in, and it's going to be correct work. It's going to be focused work for a national team going to a world championships and that kind of thing. They should be better than me. If they're not, and hopefully that's what I'm saying as a coach, I'll make them better than me. If I keep, and my goal, one of my goals is to keep my foot in as a coach and as an oil team coach, hopefully going forward. I have been on the team and I'm going over with the lads now next week. Keep that in, because I do enjoy it. You know what I mean? And the cadets are, like I say, they should be better. They should be better than us. The next generation should be better every time. So it's a little bit tragic, because you probably know, when I'm in my 30s, one of those young lads will beat me. But at the same time, you want that to happen a bit as well. You know what I mean? But look, maybe I'll just be so good, I'll just keep evolving with them.
Hopefully.
Keep myself open, open-minded enough that I'll just keep gaining new techniques and just be good going into my 40s and stuff. That's another interesting thing as well that I might touch on. I think the youngest UFC champion at the moment is something like 32. I think it might even be Charles Oliveira, and he's about 32, 33. And I just think it really highlights how long it takes to actually cover enough aspects of the vast game that is MMA, with so much different techniques. That you have to actually be a champion in a top organisation like the UFC. You almost need to be almost 30 years old, 32 years old, because that Charles has gone through so many fights,
ups and downs,
and he's learned and improved, and now he's top class. He's the champ, he deserves it. But he's 32. But if he wasn't able to evolve, if he at any point in his career was no, I'm happy with the way, I'm a great fighter already. If you're in the UFC, you're already a top fighter. At that point, it's easy for you to say, oh, no, look, I'm not listening to my coach anymore. I already know everything.
Coast, really.
Yeah, and just coast. But no, these lads are improving the whole time, and that's the way you need to be. You need to be improving in your 30s, and then you'll be a champion in your 30s. That's what it seems to be. So, I'm 23 now. give me 10 years time. Hopefully I'm improving for all those 10 years, and maybe you'll see me at the top of the game. That's the plan anyway. Going to start that journey now, that pro journey, by the end of the summer, and hopefully it takes me to the top of the game over the next 10 years or so. Yeah.
Perfect. We're all looking forward to it. I'm going to let you go. I've really enjoyed this conversation. I've one question to ask you, and it's two questions. One, what is your favorite fight, your favorite finish, or your favorite fight that you've won? And what's a fight that you lost, or maybe you didn't lose, but it was tough and you learned from the most?
Yeah. My favorite fight or favorite finish. My most elated fight I had was probably my last IMAF win. Actually, it's my last win. Yeah, so it's 2 fights ago. I fought a guy from Sweden called Alexander O Sullivan. He's gone on to do great at pro. I think he might be 4-0 now, with all knockouts or something. He's doing really well anyway. But I ended up armbarring him, and it was just it secured my last medal, because I kind of knew this was my last IMAFs. So in my head I was like, I'm medaling 4 out of 4. And he was a top lad. Like the previous fight, I had watched it, so I had won the day before, and then went up to the crowd straight away to watch my opponent's fight. And I actually assumed I was going to be fighting the German guy. It was the German and Sweden were fighting, and the German guy was the previous champ, and the Swedish guy knocked him out cold in about 30 seconds. Yeah. And I was like, ooh. And I ended up armbarring him in the second round, and that was a big, like, it just felt top class. Felt like it was all coming together. I was like, yeah, I'm medaling again. Like, I am this level. It doesn't matter that I fell short 3 times before. I'm gonna medal again here. Do you know? So that was it. And I kind of, after that, I was gonna go pro soon anyway. I just decided 30 was such a nice number. Yeah. And after COVID as well, having not been fighting, I had to get that last fight in on Clan Wars because of the ring rust. I didn't want to be out and then do a year in college and then go pro. Yeah. Having been out 3 years, I needed that one fight to kind of reorientate myself. And then I felt grand in there after the COVID. I didn't really feel. I actually ended up coming out on the wrong side of a split decision, but inside, like, I didn't feel rusty really. Like, a few tactical decisions I should have done differently, but I was enjoying myself out there. I felt like this is where I wanted to be, so I was like, right, I'm gonna go pro after that. So even that last fight was an important fight to me, and that's one I lost, to be honest. Yeah. Like, I lost that by split, and to be honest, even though I lost it by split, I came out ready to go pro. So I could say that was another one that was very important to my career, really, that last one. But yeah, like, losing to Lee really made me focus on my grappling more, and then just the IMAF loss in general. They're pretty much by the same format, so I don't want to be out wrestled as a pro. So yeah. Wrestling is so important to my training at the moment. So those kind of things have always influenced my career, to be honest. My favourite part of fighting still is boxing, because that was my first combat martial art. I mean, judo is as well, but like, being able to actually hit someone, judo is no strikes, it's just throws. I did enjoy that aspect of boxing, and I do enjoy it in MMA as well. So hopefully now at pro, you'll be seeing my hands letting loose again now, and doing some bits in the program. Hopefully, yeah, moving on up the ranks now over the next years or so, up to a major organisation. That's the plan. And yeah, I mean, like you said, any particular fights that stand out in particular finishes, those do, and there's loads of them. I've got belts throughout my amateur career, and all of them in the moment seem amazing, even and the losses seem crushing in the moment. But after a while, the elation and the disappointment of the losses, they just fade and merge into one thing over time after 30 fights. Like, so I suppose in my case, maybe there's not a particular fight, but my 30 amateur fights of my career kind of blended together to give me that confidence now to tackle the program. Yeah. So hopefully now all goes well, and you'll see me soon, hopefully on a bigger stage. That's the plan. Yeah, no, and I can't wait to see it. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much.